All right, good afternoon. We are here on the afternoon, almost dark, in the greenhouse, and greetings from South Georgia, USA. Greetings to the entire world. We are going to, on this December 1st day, 2024, we're going to review a product, a grow bag that we have gotten from China. And we are going to try to root some ever-bearing dwarf mulberry. I got this dwarf mulberry from Just Fruits and Exotics. And I paid the big price to have it shipped up here. They put it in a box and they send it in a 3-gallon pot, a tall pot, and it ends up being around $100. Now I am within driving distance of Just Fruits and Exotics. It's a long drive down into the panhandle of Florida from here, but I can make the drive. And sometime this spring, I may make the drive down there and buy some fruit trees, and they're way cheaper if you go to the nursery. They don't have to ship them, and you can pick out exactly what you want. But right now it's not a good time because winter's coming on, and I would say sometime in the spring I'm going to go down there. I'm thinking, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. So I'm going to do two things. I'm going to root some of these dwarf ever-bearing mulberries, which I've already done right here. You see this right here? When I first got this tree back in the early summer, I cut some of it off and rooted it right there in the backyard in the pot. These two pieces right here I stuck together, and mulberry's got to be one of the easiest plants to root that there is, maybe even easier than figs. Both of these were in the same pot, so I took them out and divided them, and the roots were very nice, very good, and I split them up and put them in here about a week ago. Dwarf ever-bearing mulberry. It's supposed to be a very tasty mulberry. They produce throughout the summer, and it is a relatively dwarf tree. But if you got to prune mulberry trees, or they'll get out of hand, and this one will too. And apparently, the more you prune them, the better they do. So that's the nature of this tree. My guess is that deer like to eat them a lot. And we've been making mulberry tea from the leaves of some of our other mulberry trees, and it's quite good. So I would say that nature has provided this tree with a lot of vigor so that when the animals do browse on it, it comes back vigorously. And it produces a lot of fruit. And see, this is bird food too, see, and people food. These are little bitty fellas. Let me show you it's actually got mulberries on it right now. But there's no size to them. And they're not ripe either. But here we are in December. It's not noted for being a big mulberry, but it's noted for being a tasty mulberry. It would be a very good landscape tree, shade tree, something to attract the birds to your yard, and you can eat them yourself. And with me, I will either give some of these away, or I might even sell a few when people come here to visit the farm. And I may be able to sell them a dwarf ever-bearing mulberry tree that I have rooted. So, I cut these back. You can see right here, I cut these off right here. There, and you see they've already come back So I'm going to get some cuttings from the dwarf ever-bearing mulberry. And I'm going to start about this is very vigorous right here. And I'm going to lay waste to this right here. And I'm going to get my cuttings out of it. Now let me show you what the product that I wanted to review. It is called Belit. That's the company, made in China. Here's the product code right here. I suppose you could scan that, and you're handy with your phone and all, find that. And I'll show you what these guys look like. I only bought a bag of 100, and this is them here. You see there, I've put Pro Mix in there. Show you what they look like. Now the beauty of these things is they're very inexpensive. That's number one. This little bag here, you see it's quite thin. You can see through it. According to the literature, these bags, the roots can grow through this right here. So if you root a tree in this, you don't have to up pot it. You can, but you can plant this whole thing in the other pot or in the ground. You can up pot it to a bigger pot, but you don't have to take this off. And this is what it looks like when it's got the potting soil in it. Right there. And that's my Pro Mix BX that I also mixed with a little bit of Miracle Grow soil, not planting soil, but the rougher stuff, the kind that has the big holes, the big Miracle Grow. Let me tell you what it's called right here. It's called garden soil, all-purpose garden soil. Feeds up to 3 months. Now you can root directly in this stuff, but mixing it with a finer product like the BX, which has, and this is what it looks like. This is about half Miracle Grow garden soil and the BX. Here it is right here. Pro Mix BX, and that's basically made out of Canadian sphagnum moss and perlite, and it also has something in there called mycorrhiza. I don't know what it is, but it's something that, some kind of a thing that makes inoculates the plants and makes them grow better. Okay, that's all I can tell you about it. So that's half Walmart cheap Miracle Grow potting soil and half the Pro Mix. And putting them in these bags right here. And this little thing right here, you'll have to shop around. I bought this little plastic tray here at Lowe's for $1.97. And I'll be able to use that many times. And I can get 8 in there, no problem. Okay. So what we're going to do right now is I am going to, here's my, I bet I can get 8 out of this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I might and I might not. If I don't, I'll get a few more of these. This guy ain't going anywhere. I promise you that. Stick her down in there to keep it from drying out. It would root like this. I'm convinced that would root. It would be better if I stuck it down in there more. We're going to pause right now for just a minute, and I'm going to get up my other tools that I will need to root these in this. I don't know what to call this. Belit. I'll tell you what they call it on the package, and I don't get the numbers. See, this right here takes the place of this, or a taller one. See, there's a lot of plastic in this. This is very little right here. And this right here, you can't plant this in the ground. You could, and the roots can grow out the bottom, but usually you take the rooted cutting out, and then with this, you don't have to do that. But I have had plants grow through these holes right here and find the ground and go ahead and dig into the ground. All right, what does it say? Belit, made in China. Belit nursery growing bag. Plant starts, maybe it's such small writing, 5.6 inches by 7.4 inches. And then it says 15 by 9. 15 by 19. I don't know what that is. Is that metric? 15 by 19, and there's 100 pieces in here. I don't know what it cost, but it didn't cost much. I like these. I like the size of it. I find this to be very handy right here. And they fit in here really nicely. And, okay, we're going to pause right now. Okay. All right, I have gotten 3 of these out of here. I'm going with 2 nodes at least under, 2 nodes above. Might even leave a leaf on this one. Make a 45 on the bottom so you'll remember what is the bottom and what is the top. That's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Five. I might even stick some of these little fellas in here. And one of them and see what happens. I certainly don't want to leave the mulberry on there. Let's see if it has a taste. It tastes like a strawberry that is not ripe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this will be 7. And 8. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then these 2 guys here, and I'll get one of these right here for good measure. Let's get a good stout one and see what happens right here. This is one that I've already cut off. I'm going to leave just a tiny bit of leaf on there. Like I said, these guys here, they root like crazy. So there we have it. We are going to dip them in the rooting hormone, although these guys here don't need it, I'm telling you. Stick them down as, ow! That was a sharp knife. I could feel it. Now, the general picture of this is that the further you stick it down, you give it just a little scrape. The further you stick it down, the more nodes are going to be exposed. And I think probably the more roots it'll have. So we are going to try to get this rooting hormone all the way up to there. Like I said, it doesn't require it. I'm going to go right down to the bottom, almost. Get it way down in there. Now when my grandmother used to root fig trees, she put a pretty big branch of a fig tree in the ground. And just left a very small amount above the ground. And I saw a video the other day where a guy, Ross, the fig boss, I'm not sure who it was. There's so many of them out there. He was saying that the old-time Italian way was to put a pretty good piece of limb in the ground. You know, like a limb that long, and you would put 3/4 of it under the ground and only leave a small part above the ground, and that seemed to work very well. So why do we take little cuttings like that? I could have taken that whole piece. We get more that way, that's why. But we're going to take a pause just for a second, because I do want to put a little bit of parafilm on the tips of these to keep it from, I don't have any wax, just a tiny bit of parafilm. Get back to you in just a second. Okay, I'm putting the parafilm. Now this is a question I have never seen anybody discuss, and that is, do you put the parafilm on these cuttings from the top down or from the bottom up? That is the question. Now I've been doing it from the top down, starting up here and going down. And I've seen people on the YouTube, and they start, first thing I got to do is figure out how far it's going to go down in there. Okay, so it's going to go down in there that far. So I would start right here. So this is starting on the bottom, or the lower part, and going up. Going up. And then up here, you kind of wrap it around the top a couple of times and then break it off. This one here I've scraped a little bit already. I'll put some of this rooting hormone. I'll break the rules and stick it into the and stick it down to where the parafilm is. Maybe that's a good reason to start. First thing you got to do is find out how deep are you going to put it. So I would say you test it. I want to go right there. All right, now I've got a place to start. Wrapping upward, right about there. You don't want to put the parafilm under the ground. Not necessary. I don't guess it would hurt anything. Then we get to the top, we twirl it around the top and break it off. Now we already have measured how far we want to put it under the ground. This is going to be under the ground. This node and this one here going to be under the ground a little bit. We are going to put the stuff on it, and we're going to push it down to the parafilm where we started the parafilm. Now this one right here, we're not going to do that because this one here was from a previous one that I cut off, and it's already healed up. This one right here, I've already put it in, and my guess is that's going to root anyway. So we're going to leave that one as an experiment. We got 2 to go. So why don't they put whole branches in to root? Because the commercial nursery people can get a lot more plants if they figure out a way to do it with a short piece of root cutting, which they do. But in nature, a limb would fall to the ground and root. And if you have a limb that long and you bury it, most of it, 3/4 of it, either straight down or maybe at an angle, probably it's going to have a better chance of rooting outdoors or without supervision. But this is by no means a branch right here. This is a little fella. And we are going to stick it in to where I started the... I thought I cut a piece off. I guess that's it right there. That's not a very big piece right there. So I'm going to... I'll get me a bigger piece, a thicker piece. I think I got one, but I don't know where I put it, to be honest with you. Where did I put that? Well, it doesn't matter now. I'm going to grab this guy here. Scrape it. Scrape it a little bit. Scrape it along in there. Stretch this parafilm just a little bit. Now this particular parafilm is it's only a 1/2 inch wide, and it is not nearly as stretchy as the buddy tape. The buddy tape is the stuff that you buy that is the very expensive parafilm, buddy tape. It's wider, it has perforations where you can break strips off, and it is much stretchier than this kind. But that buddy tape is like $30 or $40 or $50 a roll. This stuff here is almost nothing. Learn to work with this and you're doing just as well. Now I am going to take these guys right here that are just laying here, and I am going to stick them in next to some of this other stuff and just see what happens. Okay, stick it right in there. Just see, no parafilm, no nothing. Dwarf ever-bearing mulberry. And the Belit grow bag. Very cheap, and there are all kinds of sizes. Let me grab this over here and show you. I got some more. These were the experimental ones. These are made in China too. This is called an SKU grow bag. This is a 5-gallon grow bag. And I don't know how many's in here. 25, 5-gallon. That's a big fella. And then these right here are 3-gallon, 50 pieces. And that's what it would look like with a plant in it. And these have holes in the bottom too. So you can actually plant a plant in these. Same thing with this 5-gallon. Here's a picture of it right here. And it's got holes in the bottom. Don't know what it's actually made out of. Quality material. Whoops. Wide applications, economical, durable plastic grow bags, widely used in horticulture industry. Best for tree seedlings, quality materials, polyethylene, 2 years UV stability, reflect heat. These are, the black side of poly grow bags reflects light back into the plants, while the white side reflects plants away from the roots. So the outside is white and the inside is black. So I couldn't tell you what they cost, but I'll promise you this stuff here is way cheaper than the standard big pots, big polyethylene, these guys like this right here. That's what this replaces, okay? All right. Now, that's what I wanted to show you, give you a review of how these are and how they work. I like the looks of them. I'll sit it right back over here in the greenhouse. Here it is on December the 1st. And we will keep up with it and let you know how it's doing. And we're out here in the greenhouse, and it's been real cold here. It's going to be in the low 30s or into the high 20s in the morning, and we don't have any heat in the greenhouse, but that's okay. In the daytime, it gets so hot in here that you can't hardly stand it. It gets 100 degrees in here. And I've got my fig trees in here, my ever-bearing mulberries. So thank you for watching, and we will keep you updated on what is going on and give you some more product reviews of these guys and different alternatives to the old style right here. All right, this is Gardener Israel signing off.